Hey guys! Hey, it's Alaina, back with another YouTube video. In today's video, I will be doing a Q&A while doing my makeup. I did a Q&A a few months ago at the start of this channel so that y'all could get to know me, and I thought it would be a good idea to do one now so that I can answer some more in-depth questions and also to make my makeup video a little more juicy. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's get into it. The first thing I'm going to be doing is using the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Concealer, and I'm going to be putting that under my eyes. The first question is, when did I start makeup? I started makeup like a little bit over a year ago, but I didn't really get into it until the beginning of quarantine. So yeah. The next question is boneless or bone-in. Now, before I used to be a bone-in girl. For a while, I really liked bone-in wings, but now I'm more of a boneless wings. Some people say, what's the point of doing that? It's basically like chicken nuggets with sauce on it, but I don't know, they just hit different. The next question is a question that I already answered in my first Q&A, but I realized that I have some new people here, so I'm gonna answer it again. So the question is, why did I start YouTube? I started YouTube because I was already showing my creative stuff on Instagram, but I thought it would be a good idea to kind of share that stuff on a more personal level, and YouTube gave me the opportunity to do that. So yeah, that's why I'm doing YouTube. The next step for this makeup look is eye primer. I am going to be using the Sephora eye primer, and I'm just going to be putting that on my lids, and I'm going to be blending with my finger. The next question is plans for the summer. Now, I don't have any official plans for the summer at the moment, but I know that it is gonna be basically the last summer before I start college. So, you know, I gotta have my hot girl summer within reason because we are in a pandemic. But on top of that, I'm gonna just be basically prepping, you know, for going to college. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna be doing. The next thing I'm going to be doing for this makeup look is I'm going to be using the BH Cosmetics Zodiac Love Signs palette, and I'm going to be going into this hot pink right here. I use this hot pink a lot. Y'all have seen this many times, but I'm going to basically just put that in my outer crease and kind of angle it up a little bit. The next question is, are you excited for college? And the answer to that is a big fat yes. I am super excited for college. For those who don't know, I will be going to Temple University. I'm super excited because I want to go like outside of Pittsburgh, but at the same time it's not too far, so I'm pretty excited. So now that I am done doing the hot pink, I am going to be using the Blue Moon palette by ColourPop, and I'm going to be going into the shade Tide Pool, and I'm going to be using my finger, and I'm going to just basically be putting it like right here. The next question is, what was your favorite show growing up? Now, I don't have one specific show that I really was in love with, but my favorites, I would say when I was like younger, like 3 years old to like maybe 4, I was like very much into Dora the Explorer. But then once I got a little bit older, my favorite shows were Powerpuff Girls and Scooby-Doo. Now that I am done putting the shimmery blue shadow on my eyes, I'm going to be going back into the Zodiac Love Signs palette, and I will be using this shimmery pink shade. It's like a magenta-ish color, and I'm going to be putting that here more in the inner corner. The next question is, do you have siblings and are you guys close? I have a younger brother. His name is Bryce, and he's 15 years old. And yeah, I would say we're pretty close. Like a lot of we don't get to see each other a lot because like we're always doing different things. Like he has basketball and I do my little thing, do my YouTube videos and stuff like that. So like we don't get to like hang out as much as we like usually would have done, but yeah, we're pretty close. So for the pink, I'm gonna kind of like bring it like in the inner corner and then bring it up some more, because this isn't really like a practical makeup look. I would say more like editorial, so I kind of want to make it look dramatic. now that I'm done putting that hot pink shadow right in the inner corner, I will be using the Blue Moon palette again, and I will be going into the shade Fine China, and I will be using that in my under eye. The next question is, how do you feel about trans women in the WNBA? I believe that the WNBA, if you are a woman, you should be able to play in the WNBA. So trans women, because they are women, should be able to play in the WNBA. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to be using this shimmer shade Lumi, and I'm going to be putting it like going from the inner corner with this pink here into the under eye with this dark blue. The next question is, how do I feel about gender norms? I am not fond of gender norms at all, because it's very restrictive, and it makes it seem as though women should do certain things and men should do certain things, when in reality it should be like men and women could do whatever they want. As long as they're not harming anybody, they should be able to do whatever they want. So now that I am done with the eyeshadow part, I will be finishing off with some mascara. I'm going to be using the Clinique Black Mascara. The next question is, what is your work ethic like? I'd like to say that I'm a pretty hardworking and disciplined person. So my work ethic, I think that I strive to achieve the things that I want, but at the same time, I get my obligations done. The next question is interior crocodile alligator. And the answer to that is, I drive a Chevrolet movie theater. So what I'm gonna use is, I'm gonna use the darkest brown that I own out of any of my palettes. And I'm gonna use this brown right here. And hopefully this works. So I'm gonna just use this like kind of fine tip. It's actually a brow pencil. So I'm gonna kind of like draw some lines, and then I'm gonna blend it out. So the next thing I'm gonna do is blush. For the first blush I'm going to be using is the Milk Makeup Blush in the shade Work It, and I'm going to just be applying that. Like, the next question is kind of corny, and it's actually 2 questions in one, so I'm gonna answer it though. It says, why so pretty but single? You know, want person make you smile? I don't even know how to answer that. Thank you for saying that I'm pretty. I really appreciate that. I am in fact single, but I'm kind of content with that. I'm not really looking for anybody. I like my me time. And for the second question, I mean, it would be nice to have somebody that makes me smile, but I really don't need that because I already make myself smile, so you know, I'm cool. The next blush that I will be using is the Ofra Cosmetics blush in the shade Blush Melon, and I am basically just gonna take this on my brush a little bit, pack it off, and then just blend it in with the first blush. The next question is, how do you keep your confidence at 1,000? Well, I wouldn't say that my confidence is at 1,000, but I would say my confidence is kind of up there a little bit, a lot better than it used to be. And the way how I do that is basically realizing that everything that I do is for myself, and doing whatever I want to do in terms of makeup, in terms of fashion, because I feel like doing what I want and not conforming to what society tells me I should do makes me feel a lot more confident. And I also realize that nobody else can do me like I can. Whoa. Y'all, I did not mean to put that much blush on. Oops. Well, we're gonna roll with it because why not? I think it might help the look, like I said, editorial maybe, but I did not mean to put that much on. So I'm gonna start actually blending it out into like my temple area too as well, and kind of bring it into my nose a little bit. I did not mean to do that. Oh my god. But it's a good thing that this isn't like a practical everyday look, so I guess that's fine. I never put this much blush on. I'm actually like, oh. Now I will be moving on into highlight. I will be using the Aura Glow Kit by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I got this palette in 9th grade and I'm in 12th grade now. So this palette's about 3 to 4 years old now and it's damaged, but I'm going to be using this blue shade. It's called Orion. And I'm going to be using this fan brush and I'm going to just kind of put it on there. The next question is, what aesthetic do you love but would never wear? I have a great appreciation for cottagecore, but I could never do cottagecore because I feel like that's like old-timey, big, white, flowy dresses. And I'm not a huge dress person, nor am I a huge like wearing white type of person either. So yeah, no. But it is pretty to look at though. Let's get on with the rest of this hot mess of a makeup look. Now, I'm going to be using the In a Trance palette. I'm going to be using the All Aura Again glitter in this palette, and I am going to be applying that wherever I see fit. The next question isn't really a question, but it says, explain your choice of fashion. So my choice of fashion doesn't really fit a specific like aesthetic or anything. It can be something completely different each day, but basically what I do to kind of achieve whatever style I have is I basically just make like lists of things that I want like in my wardrobe. So if I'm like, okay, I need a new pair of pants or something like that, I'll kind of put like what type of pants I'm looking for, or like if I'm looking for a specific item, I'll put it on my list. And then as I go shopping, like thrifting and stuff like that, I'll kind of like check things off. That also helps so that I don't have a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not actually gonna wear. Because I think before, I used to just like go to thrift stores and stuff and just buy random stuff. But now it's like the stuff that I buy has more like purpose, I think. And one of the items that I've been looking for a long time was a leather blazer. And the thrift stores that I go to, I swear to God, they never have like leather blazers in my size. They're always like way too big. So what I did is I just ordered one off of Depop. And so yeah, with my fashion, it's basically just like getting cute stuff that I want and then putting it together when it's time to, you know, wear an outfit, and it somehow works. Now that I am done putting glitter all over my face, I will be moving on to the lips. And for the lips, I'm going to be doing something that's not so practical like the rest of this makeup look. And I'm going to be using the Blue Moon palette again, and I'm going to be using this angled brush, and I'm basically going to go into Fine China and use it almost like a lip liner. The next question is, were you ever afraid to express your own fashion / makeup style? And the answer to that is yes. I used to be kind of terrified to like explore my fashion and my makeup and wear it like out in public. I feel like with my makeup, I do like a lot more bold looks now, but before I would be too afraid to do it, let alone post it. You know, now I'm able to wear more stuff like out in public. And when I first started with like the fashion thing, I feel like at first when I was thrifting clothes and stuff like that, not everybody was like on like thrifting, oh my God, vintage. So I feel like I was a little nervous to like, you know, wear a whole bunch of like vintage, like thrifted outfits at the time. But as more people started like appreciating vintage stuff more, I felt like I got more comfortable because other people were getting more comfortable with that stuff. So yeah, so now that I'm done doing like the blue lip liner, I will be using the Lip Smackers Squeezy Lip Gloss in the flavor Blue Raspberry. I'm going to be putting that on here. It has a little bit of a blue tint and it's also like glittery, so I feel like it would kind of like, you know, look good with this look. The next question is, do you have any regrets? And the answer to that is yes, because I feel like doesn't everybody have regrets, at least a little bit? But for me, I feel like my regrets are from when I was like a lot younger. I feel like because I was super insecure when I was a lot younger, I was just extremely rude to people instead of just like, you know, chilling and just doing what I needed to do. I felt like I was a little bit rude to people, And to those people who I hurt in the past, I am extremely sorry for my actions from my younger self, because I had no reason to be like that. I was being extremely out of pocket. The next question seems like a really simple question, but it's a little tough. It's, are you happy? And the answer to that is, I don't know. I feel like I am very content with the place that I'm at right now, and I'm happy about the accomplishments I've made, like real world accomplishments and also personal accomplishments. But at the same time, I don't feel like I've reached the level of happiness that I would like to in the future. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be using these little like craft, little like glittery things. These are supposed to be meant for like doing arts and crafts, like paper and like notebooks and poster boards and things. This is not meant for makeup, but I'm going to be using it for makeup. And so what I'm gonna do is, I think I'm gonna use, I'm gonna use these blue little clouds right here, and I'm just gonna put like one under each eye, kind of like on the cheek area. And I'm gonna be sticking them onto my face using the Duo Lash Glue. The next question is, can you be pro-black and date outside of your race? And the answer to that is yes. Yes, you can. Because I feel like for some people, or for most people, when they choose to date somebody, they don't choose to date them because of their race. They choose to date them because they like them. But at the same time, I could see where dating outside of your race could be just an anti-black type of thing. But I feel like, yes, you definitely can date outside of your race but still be pro-black. Now, if you're dating outside of your race solely because you're like ashamed to be black, or you're bashing like black people, then that's when it's like you're not really being pro-black when you're dating somebody outside of your race. The makeup look is already very crazy, but that's kind of the point. But the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this look even more glittery and even more crazy, and I am going to be using these blue gems, and I'm going to be applying them wherever I see fits. The last question is, what is your most traumatic experience? Now, I haven't told very many people about this, but when I was younger, back when I lived in St. Croix, I was about like 2-ish. I got in a car accident. Nobody was injured, but I just like vividly remember it. At the time, I didn't know what was going on, but I definitely have like a vivid memory of it happening, and then like not knowing what was going on. And then like my mother was pregnant with my little brother, so I didn't know that at the time. So like seeing my parents like being like, you know, kind of like in shock, like, oh my God, what we're gonna do, we gotta do that. Like it was traumatic. It was a traumatic experience, and I still like vividly remember it to this day. And normally at like 2 years old, you don't really remember stuff like that, but because it was so traumatic, I definitely remembered it. I am back, and as you can see, I am very much looking insane, looking very glittery, very pink and blue. And I also have a lot of rings on, a lot of accessories, you know. And I kind of like how this turned out for like an editorial look. I think this is my first time doing a super duper out of the box look. And yeah, I very much appreciate this. So now I'm going to be showing you the pictures that I took. So here you go. Anyways guys, that is all for today's YouTube video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you didn't, it's okay to leave a dislike. If you want to see some more content from me, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, don't forget to be safe and responsible. Bye.
Hey, I'm doing an outro. Hey, I'm doing an outro. Hey.